today.
All right, we are here with Shomari Smith. Shomari, introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Shomari Smith. I am a Enterprise Channel Account Manager for Cambium Networks, covering the East Coast reseller community and service provider community, and we're here at the end of day one of IT Nation in sunny Orlando, Florida. And it's been actually a really, really good show so far. We've had a lot of really good conversations with MSPs and service providers from all over the country. In fact, some people internationally from Canada and from other parts of the world. And there's a common thread of need and requirement for wireless solutions, both on the Wi-Fi side as well as the wireless broadband side. And it's a large opportunity for Cambium. I'm really happy we're here so far.
What's some of the Cambium value proposition that's working with the people that you're talking to today?
Well, one, there's the brand exposure conversation that usually happens at the forefront. Probably half the conversations, if not more, start with, have you heard of Cambium? Do you know who Cambium is? And most of the MSPs here do not, because they have not focused on the fixed wireless backhaul side of the business. Some have, but the majority have not. So it's a little bit of a history lesson explainer to help them understand our roots and our genesis from Motorola, because that always automatically resonates with the service provider that we talk to. And then it's transitioning to help them understand the Goldilocks position that Cambium is in when it comes to enterprise Wi-Fi. I talk about being ubiquity on steroids and being a fantastic value prop and a TCO argument against some of the traditional players that they're familiar with, like Meraki or Cisco or Aruba or Ruckus or those kind of guys. And Cambium being in that sweet spot in the middle. And that always, you see the light kind of turn on when I say, things like freedom from fees or getting additional value from a one-time cost on the hardware, that these service providers are going to take a hard look at what we have to offer from that point forward. And then you extend the conversation to, well, have you thought about not just inside the building or inside the campus, but also the connectivity to that building or the distributed campus? And they say, no, I haven't really thought about that, or it's not an area I've been familiar with in the past. But they're interested in learning more in how to diversify the offerings that they provide and make their managed service more of a compelling solution for their customer base, or appeal to a broader customer base. So I think that's resonating with a lot of people.
I saw a lot of customers, MSPs, walk in, quite a few of them using Meraki today.
Yeah.
There's some that said they use AeroHive. So were you able to turn their minds to look at Cambium?
Some, not all. I mean, when it comes to wireless manufacturers, sometimes it's kind of like a religion, and you kind of have to drain the blood in terms of getting them to take the blinders off and say, I can only look at it from a certain perspective. Meraki does a very good job selling a certain way. They don't talk about their access points. They'll talk about, it's entirely about the GUI and the management interface and the ecosystem that they're in. So, one, depending on who I'm talking to, you got to try to figure out, is this the business decision maker? Is this a technical lead, and cater the conversation appropriately? But if you're talking to the CEO, and a lot of the people here are CEOs or presidents, I automatically pivot to, this is a really, really good total cost of ownership solution that you should consider compared to Meraki. We do the vast majority of what Meraki does. Maybe not 100% on the management side, but the vast majority for a much lower total cost of ownership. And that equates to significant margin gains for that managed service provider. So I always try to talk dollars and cents as opposed to going down into the speeds and feeds of what we do, because what resonates with those guys is, how can I make more money and how can I make sure that my customers still stay sticky and happy to the service offering that I provide them. So that usually works well when talking and competing against what they know, being Cisco, Meraki, AeroHive to a lesser extent. AeroHive's not as expensive or restrictive as Meraki, but reminding them we're in that Goldilocks position, that sweet spot between the low-cost disruptors like Ubiquity and the high enterprise players like the ones I mentioned before, usually gives a really compelling argument and a lot of eye-opening and oohs and ahs. I want to learn more. Then it's all about follow-up.
That's great. Great first day update. We'll come back for more tomorrow.